Hello everyone, this is Emily, a Japanese wife living in Luxembourg. In this channel, I want to discuss with you about life, love, career, everything matters in your life through discovering about a woman who lived in end of Edo era, Princess Yachiyo.
Romance in Edo era. Since Princess Yachiyo was a samurai woman, I specifically want to explain about samurai women. Please note that it is not about farmers nor merchant. Before I talk about romance, I want to give a perspective about life and death at the time in Edo period. In the last episode, I've mentioned that Yachiyo's father, Naosuke, was the 14th son. In old Japanese system, elder brother, usually the first son, take over the family in the future. But many of his brothers died, and Naosuke became the head of the family. At the time, many people died in their youth because of disease. It was very difficult to be grew up to adult. Yoritoshi, the husband of Yachiyo, was not the son to take over the family originally. He had elder brother who already married but was died when he was 20 years old with illness. Later on days, when Yoritoshi became the head of the family, he took care of the brother's wife as well. So in Edo era, it was difficult to live until his adulthood. Many children died with some reasons like illness. Also, giving birth of boys was very important and difficult. An hereditary system like this, they needed to make sure of successor in order to inherit the family. With these reasons, in Edo era, there was a lawful wife called seishitsu, and concubine called sokushitsu existed in samurai culture. The next particular thing I want to talk about is the law for the military house,武家諸法度in Japanese. The law was issued by the second shogunate among 15 shogunate lasted over the Edo era and was a key to sustain the long peace of Edo era. The third shogunate, Iemitsu, tightened the law in 1635 and made the law even more particular than any other era. One of the new regulations introduced was all the lawful wife and children of daimyo must live in Edo, current Tokyo. In other words, they were hostages. Tokugawa family made strong controls over everything during Edo era. They kept the most beloved ones as hostages in order to prevent the riot by daimyos. Another interesting thing was they made a law to make every daimyo visiting Edo every other year. This was called Sankin Kotai in Japanese and was a strategy to keep daimyo power not too strong. Daimyo had duty to come to Edo with a parade. In this way, daimyo had to spend a lot of money on their way, including hotel and food. Thanks to Sankin Kotai, the streets have developed and some business thrived, but daimyo could not save a lot of money because they had to spend. Thanks to this strategy, daimyo couldn't afford much to buy military arms, nor to make riot for a long time. So, back to the topic. For the samurai women, they had difficulty giving birth or raising sons until the adulthood. and lawful wife had to stay in Edo as hostage. Ironically, while lawful wife stayed in Edo, the concubine stayed their country, often with the Lord Daimyo. In this way, laws for the military houses made strange situation if I see from nowadays perspective. Yet, that was the common sense at the time. For the absolute power, Tokugawa shogunate had huge harem called Ogu. It was the largest support system by the ladies, and some even says Tokugawa family could last over 260 years thanks to those ladies. This Ogu was at the back of the Edo castle, and there was around 200 rooms with 3,000 or more women to work there. Only women were allowed to enter there, except for shogunate, children of shogunate, and a few important people. They were lawful wife and concubine living together. Becoming a part of the Ogu was seen to be the top career for a woman at the time. For the samurai woman, they had many restrictions and regulations that there was no freedom for romance from the beginning. Daimyo's family needed approval by the shogunate for the marriage. They were basically arranged marriage between the family. For samurai, family matters more than personal issue. Often, women had to marry for the family, so concubine was approved. This sounds like very tough for a woman like me, who is free and emotional. How did they survive? Well, they had the literature to support them. The tale of Genji is one of the most famous love story in Japanese literature, written in 1008. It describes romance history inside the royal, where also existed a lot of regulation. Maybe girls read this story and fantasize for free romance. At the time, this tale of Genji was super popular among samurai women. So, today's question is, what do you find similarities? Although some seems extreme in Edo era, people says history repeats. And if you try to apply current situation, do you find any similarities? For example, I've thought of 3 things. Sankin Koutai sounds a bit like go-to travel campaign in Japan or anywhere else where government try to boost the weak economy.武家諸法度or law for military houses sounds a little bit like idols these days. Since idol is iconic lover for everyone, some people are not allowed to have personal life, and some cases become too much that some idols get first criticism. And Tale of Genji or Genshi Monogatari sounds a little bit like Kimetsu no Yaiba or Demon Slayer's popularity in Japan these days. While people trying to overcome the extreme situation like now in COVID, people want to see the hope and heartfulness even if they couldn't have or cannot have. I would like to know your opinion in comment below. In the next video, I'm going to talk about women's career in Edo era. Thank you for watching this long episode. Please like and subscribe. See you next time. Ciao ciao.